There's my camera. Good morning. Welcome back to the live stream. I've been juggling some things here at my desk to try and make it a little bit easier to manage and see what's going on here. My name is Jeff Fritz. Today is May 3rd, 2018. Good morning. I'm seeing some of our friends there in the chat room, and I've got the chat room back docked on the side. Feels so good to be at the friendly confines. Good morning, Saduki. And Avandro, hello. Good to see you. And Sinclair Nader, hello. Welsh Ronaldo, thanks for joining me this morning. Let's see. Today I'm playing. What am I playing here? This is Blue, from Carl Franklin's Music to Code by, playing in the background. I'm trying a slightly different configuration this time. I got my hands on an Elgato Stream Deck, and I've loaded all my music onto the Stream Deck so that I can reach out, use the Stream Deck to play the music directly and not have to deal with some music player hanging out there. We'll see how this works. Not hearing the background music over here. Oh no. Let's see. Let's see if... What have I done? Playing the music, so it should be... I can see it coming out very faintly. Alright, let's see if I can pump that up a little bit more. And I don't want it to be overbearing. I can see it here on my mixer. There we go. Is that a little bit better? I've also started loading up. Good. I don't want it to be overpowering. And I've also started loading up like some sound effects. We should be able to hear as well. So, and I've got a few more that I'm working on here. So, slowly but surely, we're adding features, building out how things work. There you go. Yes. All right. Summer has hit at the Fritz household here. We didn't even have spring. We jumped from 30 degrees last week to 90 Fahrenheit this week. It is insane. So, we're dealing with a little bit of that. Alright, so there's our music to code by. I've updated the title on the Twitch stream. I've got a lot of questions. I can't believe how many pull requests we have out there. Good morning, Jay. 90s out there. Yikes. Granted, we're seeing 80s in Ohio. Oh, yes. It's getting quite warm here in the Philadelphia area. I'm going with my Doctor Strange hat. There you go. There he is, hiding on the other side. I've got Doctor Strange. I saw Avengers Infinity War. No spoilers in the chat room, please. Doctor Strange was kind of important in the movie. Really looking forward to seeing what they do with Avengers 4. So, yeah, really important to see the Doctor during the movie. So, I've got a ton of pull requests out there that we really need to get to. We need to start taking a look at it, and then I want to answer some questions. I got a number of questions over the last week or so, and I want to go through and clear out where we are with some of those things. And of course, May is for Macs here on the stream, so I'm going to be doing all the work today, all of our coding, all of our web browsing, everything on a Mac. Because .NET works great on a Mac, Visual Studio Code works great on a Mac, and I want to spend some time getting used to that, and showing that, with a free set of tools on a Macintosh, things work great. So let's head over to our code. There we go. Hey there, Milk Narf. All right. So we've got a few of us here in the chat room today. That's all right. Durinator, thank you for the follow. I don't know. There it was, hiding. Steve didn't appear as quickly as I thought he normally would. What's going on there, Steve? Steve. Come on now. But thanks for the follow, Durinator. It's great to have you joining us. So I've been doing a lot of work in the stream tools. We've got a couple of pull requests out here, and we want Steve Ballmer to show up more. Yes, we do. Tell your friends. Encourage everybody to come join us here. We got a number of pull requests here on stream tools, and I like what's being done here by Sean to refactor out our JavaScript into some feature modules. This is some really neat work here. I want to take a look at these second because I've got 6 pull requests over here in our core wiki, our base project that we're using to set a minimum viable and simple ASP.NET Core project. So I think we want to work over here. Doctor Strange. Yes, Janescu. Doctor Strange is one of my favorites. He stole his look from me. Look at that. So, what else? Oh my gosh. And Sudoku, it's kind of reminding me here. We're going to run another workshop. We're going to run a C#. It's actually going to be beginners to advanced workshop. Doctor Who is a different doctor. He has the sonic screwdrivers. He's from the UK. Well, Benedict Cumberbatch is from the UK also. Doctor Who is a TV show that's on BBC. That's really cool. It's been on for 50 plus years. We're on the 14th Doctor, and simply amazing. Peter Capaldi was the last Doctor, and I forget her name that's playing the new Doctor. It's going to be amazing. Tomorrow is May 4th. Yes, it is. It's May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, that's right. There you go. And then after that is Cinco de Mayo. Hope you've got some tacos and stuff lined up. But we're going to be running a C# workshop here on the stream on Friday, May 18th. And I have 8 killer pair programmers joining us that are going to teach everything from beginner all the way through to a little bit of advanced C# at the end of the day. Our friend Sudoku, she's in the chat room. She's going to help us out for an hour. I've got some other friends from the .NET communities out there, and for some of our Microsoft folks that help build the framework and the languages and the tools that are going to help us with some of these features, and discussing what's going on and how we can use those tools in C# to the best of our knowledge. And as part of it, there was actually a request to do a little bit of Git basics. So our friend Sarah Ford is going to join us and do a little bit of Git for newbies, Git for new developers, so that we can start off and get everybody on the right page with using source control as a developer. But yes, it is going to be quite an awesome event. I think I can share, and I don't think you would mind, but we're going to feature late in the day. I've got 2 folks from Microsoft that are going to really bring the latest stuff for everybody. Mads Torgerson, the current program manager for C#, is going to talk about all the new things that have happened in the last 6 months with C# and that are happening in the year ahead with the next version of C# called C# 8. And then at the end of the day, to wrap it up, I know Joe Bunn, John is hanging out there. We're going to wrap up the day. I've got a commitment from him. I think this is going to happen, but we're going to have Immo Landworth from the .NET team join us, and Immo's going to be talking about Span of T, the new features for memory management in .NET Core and that are coming to .NET Framework that help manage how you use memory a little bit better. So that's going to be a very it's going to be a very cool event. There's a couple of other speakers in there that we're setting up with some different topics, and we're going to be covering everything for every version of C# and showing you all the cool stuff that's coming. So I will have a full article up on the website, up on our live stream page here. I have an ASP.NET Core. I have a C# workshop branch. Not branch. It's a folder that I'm adding here with all the details. We should see that in the next day or two. I'm just looking for a couple folks to finish committing here. Committing to topics, and you'll see that appear. So I've got things on class design happening, object-oriented, an intro to object-oriented concepts. Sudoku is a really good speaker on that topic, so we're going to show a little bit of that. And we've got stuff on extension methods, all the different things you can do with static methods, predicates, delegates. We're going to be doing async and await again. Our friend Bill Wagner has generously offered to join us again and do a talk through on just that. So it is going to be an amazing day. It's an 8-hour day. I really enjoy doing these long form workshops. This is the second of what I expect to be many of them throughout the rest of 2018. Now, I've told you all that because I've got something else special planned for .NET Conf. So .NET Conf is an event that we at Microsoft run. We run from our Channel 9 studios. It looks like that's going to be in the late summer, early fall. We're locking on a date, but I'm setting up for a 24-hour stream with .NET Conf. It's going to be huge. I'm looking for 24 speakers to join us for a massive coding event. Right there at the beginning of the school year, folks going back to school, kids are going to be out doing wherever, but we're going to go for a 24-hour stream along with .NET Conf. I'm working on some of the initial plans this week, but as I lock down on that, you're going to hear more about that here on my stream. The Microsoft folks will be promoting it. Yes, 24 hours of .NET, and we're tentatively calling it The Sun Doesn't Set on .NET. All right? So keep your ears open for that. I'm really looking forward to it. It's something that I'm spearheading. I'm going to help lead as part of this amazing effort on .NET development for everybody in every time zone as part of .NET Conf. All right. So that's coming up later in the summer, but I'm going to continue pushing these workshops. Like I said, C# workshop May 18th, 8-hour format. So you'll see that pop up here on the GitHub. From dusk till dawn.net. Well, actually, and here's what we're going to do. I'm looking at having folks see, and I've realized when I look at the time zones that I broadcast here, and some of you folks join me, I really appreciate, the folks that are in Germany and Denmark that are tuning in late in their afternoon, or, just before dinner. And I've also got folks in the Pacific time zone that are having breakfast and tuning in. And of course, we've got some of our friends in Brazil that tune in, and they're, about lunchtime joining us. And there's a couple folks in India that join us here in the chat room, and I know it's late at night. It's after dinner. It's very late in the evening. C# FritzConf. Oh, Evandro, I love that idea. But it's late in the day for the folks in India and our friends in China and Japan. It's in the middle of the night. They're usually not joining us. So I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for a 24-hour stream with local speakers in those local languages appropriate for each time zone. So we'll see how that works. All right. That's looking ahead. But the key one to note is May 18th will be the C# workshop. In fact, let's add it to... I've already added it to my list of guests here. All right. So we are going to be hosting that here on the 18th. Next week, I am at Build. I'll be broadcasting. I'm actually going to be starting a little bit later than normal because that's what time the podcast room is available for me. But on Tuesday, I'll be broadcasting live from Build. I'm even packing up the green screen and taking it with me to the event. Scott Kate is going to join us on Thursday next week from Parts Unknown on Microsoft Campus. We're still working out some of those details. And Isaac, I think we're almost there with our Core Wiki project, and we'll be ready to add in some of the features that Isaac has for us. Oh yes, traveling with the green screen. Oh, you have no idea, Saduki. I've had TSA in every airport pull me over and want to check out my bag because I've packed my microphone. They see the microphone and they're like, "What the heck is that thing?" And they have to inspect it. So I'm going to be traveling with the green screen, with microphone, Stream Deck, 3 machines. It's going to be a party. And our friend Christina Warren has graciously agreed to join us and talk about blogging for developers and how we can be a little bit more social and promote ourselves, establish a blog, establish a presence on the web. I think that's going to be a very good stream for us to learn a little bit about. So, yes, I did finally pick one up. I don't want to say caved in, but I reached a point where I was looking at the stuff for working on the Mac. I was going to be working, doing a bit more traveling. I was like, you know what? I can't be futzing with things in OBS. Let's lock it down. Let's automate some things, and that's what I use my Stream Deck for. It's been a while since I've flown. Hopefully I don't run into any annoyances. Nah, TSA is pretty good. They're pretty good. So that's what's coming up on the schedule here. I also have, there is an iCal out here that you can get to that has the calendar if you want to put the calendar on your device. And you know what? I don't see a link to it here. I think it's on the front of the Twitch page. But you can check that out and you can map that and you'll get the complete schedule of when I'm broadcasting. All right. So that's everything that's coming up and going on here on the live stream. I'm going to take a look at the issues here. And there's a couple of good ones that I really want to get into. I think I can close this one out about the deeper dive on identity and authorization. I did speak to Brock Allen about doing a show on identity server. But we did that show with our friend Scott Hunter, and I think that worked out pretty well, covering some of this. So when I showed Fred's Stream Tools repo and mentioned as Jeff have Hub as singleton to David Fowler, he responded, "Awful." What? Do tell. What do we got there? So, Mr. Regs, that's the iCal for the previous workshop. So, I have that iCal for the one here that I ran on the 8th. That was all ASP.NET Core focused. I am seeing... Yeah, there you go, Brendan. That was you on that screenshot. I am seeing some issues with the SignalR hub, and I'm updating by hand the local viewer count here because my SignalR isn't my SignalR push isn't refreshing that appropriately. I thought I had an updated version of. Let's see here. I thought I had an updated version. Yes, terminate the batch job. Let me make sure I have the latest version of that running. Let's see here. And a Docker pull is taking forever to kick off, which feels weird. It's like Docker fail. But I'm working on getting some sound effects. I'm working on getting... I've identified a couple of intro songs that I'm looking at using. Image is up to date. All right. So why isn't it? Whatever. I'll have to do some debugging on that. So is, let's see, because David Fowl mentioned this. David Fowl, don't make your hub a singleton. Why shouldn't we make the hub a singleton? Open DevTools in browser and look at the packets in the WebSocket. Oh. I think it's going to be a little bit more than that. I think there's... So here's the thing, right? I don't have all my environment variables over on the Mac, so I can test it quite as easily, but I could probably test with the fake. Here's what I'll do. I want to get to your stuff first. So, chat widget to stream tools. Cool. Convert to fetch. I need to add a new issue here. SignalR for follow. SignalR doesn't stay connected. The follower goal and current viewer count don't update. And I'm going to mark that as a bug. All right. I want to get to the things that you guys have opened here in CoreWiki first, before I come back and start looking at that. And we'll take a look at David Fowler's thing there. Let's SignalR hub shouldn't be a singleton because @David Fowl said so. Alright. There he is. So maybe we can get David to help us. I've actually asked a couple folks on the SignalR team if they would join us. We'll see. Is that because the hub is a singleton? Because it's singleton, it doesn't keep connection, perhaps. Could be. But Brendan asks, is 2.1 final-ish bits dropping at build? You can tell all of us here will keep it secret. I think Beth Massey would shoot me in the face with a bazooka if I told you what the announcements were going to be at build. I can tell you that there are a number of announcements planned. Look for a live stream with the Scotts, Scott Hanselman, Scott Hunter. They'll be bringing you all of our cool announcements at build. All right. So I'm going to come back to this bug fix because I want to prioritize and look at the things that you folks have submitted first. Build will be awesome. Yes, it will. Build's going to be really cool. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up because Smab submitted this a long time ago, and I want to give some respect to what he's been working on. When is the next build? There you go. May 7 to 9, 2018, Seattle. All right. See that? Look, I've got all the chat working properly. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So here's the tag helper update that Smab was suggesting. Using IHTML generator. Say, I don't have a Fritz command. David Fowl was in the last ASP.NET community stand-up talking about SignalR and Project Bedrock. I'm not familiar with the Bedrock code name. Alright, let's see what we got here. So, add page number to the route. Good. Decorate the page number property with from route. Okay. At this point, there's little to no error checking in this tag helper, and design decisions should be made going forward. How to display once the number of pages gets beyond a certain limit. That's a good point. That's a very good question here. So when you have a pager that you're displaying on a page, when you get to a very large page number, you almost want to skip forward a certain number of pages. There's definitely something to be said there. Using a cookie and JavaScript. Ooh. Let's come back to that. What to do if the current number is greater than total pages. Make sure the design is responsive and works with the major browsers properly. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to respond here. Let's take those design discussions to a... Is that what's going on here in this pull request? let's see here. Okay, so this is another pull request. All right. Let's take those design decisions to another issue. And yes, cookies. Which means we also are probably going to want to put some sort of GDPR disclaimer in the application. Oh, GDPR. All right, let's see here. And we can work on them in additional pull requests. All right, there we go. But let's take a look at what we've got here from Simon. We'll grab the command line instructions because that's how I work. I'm going to copy that out, and I have... Where is it? There's my command lines. Here's Core Wiki over here. Let's move that to the top. And, yep. All right, let's paste in those commands. Oh, no. That's fine. Do it. All right. Oh, wait, it went ahead and merged. Look at that. What? I wanted to pause and look at this first. All right, so I'm still ahead, so I didn't push it. Of course, the new 2.1 templates have the cookie GDPR built in. Yes, it does. All right, let's take a look at what's inside. There it is. All right, so this is Stream Tools. Let's jump over to close everything here. We want to open. Come on. Where is it? Hang on. I want to open folder. Open workspace? Maybe? Core Wiki. Yep, do that one. Why won't it let me open that? What the heck? Alright, try this again. Core Wiki. Yes, open there. GDPR is like common sense built in. GDPR is annoying. Go ahead, do the restore. Required assets are missing. Yep, go ahead and add them. Oh, look at all that red. Now there was a change that we set. Waffle cookies are awesome. What was it? We had to look at... Where is it? Come on now. There we go. User settings. And I wanted to set, end of line is carriage return line feed. So we should be okay. I'm not quite sure why I'm getting all these edits here. Right, alright, so these errors we should be restoring, getting all of that fixed. Compatible SDK for global JSON version was not found. Is there a global JSON in here? There is. Let's yank that for right now. Yeah, so what? Go away. And now let's try that .NET Restore again. See how we do here. There we go. Let's see. 21300 preview 2. So let's put that in here. Let's make this 21300. That should be all right. Yep. Okay, let's go down into core.net build. That should build. Good. Bundling and everything feels good. All right. Let's go back over to, not that page. There it is. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's go down and do Core Wiki. Go down one more. I should have .NET Watch here. There it goes. So I'm just going to leave .NET Watch sitting here, running. And you can see it's listening on 64.908. Let's copy that. We'll open a new browser. And let's go there and let's see what everything looks like with our new pager in place. Do I have Visual Studio for Mac on my Mac? I do, and I actually have a request to Michaela Hutchinson. She's the program manager in charge of Visual Studio for Mac, and we're going to have her join us in May. I need to circle back on that email, actually. So let's take a look at all articles and see if we can get the pager to pop. So that looks pretty good. My JavaScript isn't loading here again. What happened there? Right, so that script should be loading and doing... Now look at that, moment isn't available here. So where did we lose moment? Let's see, www.root lib. There's moment, and there's all my files. So somewhere along the way we lost moment. Let's take a look at our content here. There it is. There's moment. So somewhere here we... Right, and that should load for us. Why isn't... Let's refresh. Right, there's moment. Not modified. Okay. There's nothing there. Why is my moment min empty? I mean, are you kidding, right? Okay, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And actually, none of these have any content. Could those articles show as in flex grid so cards are smaller and also responsive? Sure. I guess they could. Let's take a look here. You know what? I don't think our packages got installed. Okay. So there's our node modules. Okay. So here's what I can do to trigger a build again. And Bootstrap is not loaded. Yeah, that's not the right version of Bootstrap. So here's what I'm going to do to force another build. All these reds should go away now. I'm just going to touch that file. And you see our .NET Watch behind my fat head here is rebuilding. Cool. So let's try to reload. Right, and if I check over here in moment min, now I've got contents. Right, there we go. Much better. Alright, there's a timing issue if the bundler runs before the NPM finishes. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Many 404s. And now the 404s are gone. There's a Bootstrap JS missing. Well, that's weird. Try that reload one more time. Yeah, why am I missing Bootstrap JS? Bootstrap JS. It's right there. So let's see where it's looking for that. Right, it looks like, yeah, lib, Bootstrap JS, Bootstrap JS. Lib, Bootstrap, it's under dist. Alright, so let's go take a look at our views here. Why don't I see views? Migrations model object, oh, because we're doing it with pages. I'm not a fan of why I'm getting all these. Am I missing a using directive? No, they're there. Something's out of sync with my tools here. Have you got the right layout? Which branch was it on? Let's take a look. So I'm going to go to layout. And so there's momentum lib, jQuery, dist, lib, bootstrap, dist. All right. Let's try to rerun that. Cool. 404s are gone. And if I look at latest changes, not bad. So certainly we could use FlexGrid and we could shorten that up. That's fine on the home page. All articles looks fine. And our pager, it works. It remembers the page that I'm on now. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think we're in good shape. Let's commit those changes. So I don't want to add the VS Code stuff. I'm not going to push the program, the global JSON change, but we do need to update that layout. So let's add pages. There we go. And fixed reference to Bootstrap.js. Cool. And now I can finish this merge. Let me go grab the exact code. Not that one. Here we go. Merge the changes. Check out project versions and ratings. Yes, that's what I want. Oh, come on. I had this working. And now I need my password, which is actually an API key. The layout is still very wrong. It has the wrong information at the bottom of the layout. We fixed that on a previous branch. All right, let me come back to that in just a second here. I actually need to, I think I did this right. I'm going to switch over to my full face over here. No! Not that one. This one. And I need to grab my key to be able to log in and push those changes. For some reason, it didn't remember it from the last time that I logged in here from GitHub. Yes, this one. Absolutely. Personal access tokens is what I need. All right. Try to remember the password, Jeff. There we go. All right. So now I should be able to log back in. It's asking me for my password every time here. That rots. Yeah, I know. I loaded the wrong scene from OBS. That's weird that GitHub is requiring me to key in my password every time. Because I had everything set properly. Not a fan of that. Oh, wait a sec. I need to go back over here. My key is sitting there on GitHub. And it... So I use personal access tokens to access GitHub because I've got... I'm very fond of you because you are just my type. Oh, very cute. Yes. No, I have two-factor authentication configured with my GitHub account, and I need to make sure that I'm properly granting access and able to use those features with that heightened level of security. And for some reason... Yeah, it's not letting me... Huh. Could always generate a token. That's what I've done. I've generated a personal access token, and it's not saving it for me when I log in to GitHub. Let me go over here so I can at least bring this back up. Persist. No. Log in with a GitHub personal access token. Right? Authenticate with GitHub using token. I'm trying to authenticate with GitHub using personal access token. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Remote add origin and then have to include your token as part of the origin? That's awful. Yeah, I don't want to do that. No, 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 no. Automation, Git automation with OAuth tokens. It also works in GitHub. Create a personal access token. Git clone, username, password, your token. You can use Git password caching. Yes, that's what I want. Shouldn't be needed. And people wonder why I just use GitHub Desktop for the dev chatter. No, no, no. Git config global credential helper OSX keychain. Okay. Find out if Git and the OSX chain helper are already installed. All right. So let's try that. Okay, so it's there. Cool. If the isn't installed, nope, it is. All right, tell Git to use it using the global credential helper config. All right. I thought I had done all this stuff. Okay. Now what? Next time you clone an HTTPS URL that requires a password, you'll be prompted from your username and password and to grant access to the OSX keychain. After you've done this, username and password are stored in your keychain. You won't be required to type them into Git again. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So let me go back over to that scene. I'm going to grab my personal access token again. I'm going to regenerate it so I get a fresh token, just like Mama used to make. And let me do a git push. I'll key in my password, my username, and I'll paste in the token, and it says everything up to date. So if I git push again, it still wants my username and password. That stinks. I thought I was using an SSH on this. Updating credentials from the OSX keychain. Yeah. Let's see here. I didn't think I cloned this with... So let me come back over here Go back to CoreWiki using an SSH agent. I thought I was. You know what? I cloned it using HTTPS instead of SSH. Darn it. Alright. So let's go back to here. Clear. Because I've already pushed everything up, and I've got that all synced up there, I should be able to change my remote. Right? If I say get remote origin, it's going to show me... there's a way to change that, right? I'm going to say set URL. Name is origin, and the new URL I want is... let me make sure I've got the right... I want that URL. So now I should be able to say get push. Do you want to continue connecting? Yes. Could not read from the remote. Make sure I have the correct access rights and it exists. Ugh. Been at your stream recently, but not talking in it, RW Grim. I usually just cheat and vim git/config. Yeah, you can do that. Let's see. So I think... let me double check my SSH key here. Make sure that that's all. Yeah. So I've got to go grab my public key. Okay. And I need to double check that that's on my account here. On GitHub. SSH keys. You know what? My SSH key is not here. It's not. All right. So now if I go back, let's see here. Let's go back to dev CoreWiki, and if I do a git push, good. Now I'm logged in and everything's up to date. All right, fantastic. Over here, let me go back to .NET Watch. Now, Smab was pointing out that we are not... .NET Watch Run. Something happened, we lost the layout a little bit here. And where was that layout that we pushed? I want to be down in project versions and ratings. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm in the versions and ratings. Okay. So where did... where did we lose that? So we merged this, right? We merged 42. This should be good. It's on projects, versions, and ratings. Most of the other branches have it incorrect. Just checked. Okay. Thank you for the follow, the ASD. Very creative with your keyboard there, I see. Why is the Microsoft guy using a Mac? Because, you know what? I'm trying to make sure that folks everywhere... What happened there? Go back to this. I'm trying to make sure that folks everywhere can use whatever tool they want to build with .NET, to build and be productive. Let's see here. I'm gonna force that refresh over there. Why didn't this all add more commits? I thought we merged this. A significant portion of Microsoft employees use Macs. Yes. Yep, indeed we do. I thought I just merged this. No? Right. Git log. Casey Works, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. No, it's not showing it here. Huh? So if I refresh this... Okay, now we're right off into Never Never Land. Let's get rid of all that. Yep, we're serving content, all articles. Okay, but that's not what we merged in here. Let's get rid of this. Let's try this one more time here. I don't know where that merge went. Yes, that Balmer video, RW. You should host... It triggers developers, yes. And for the last decade, I've only been a Mac user. Hey, terrific. Oh, Brendan, you're using Steve as well? All right. Let's take a look at why this isn't. Hang on. Go back to the command line instructions. Let's grab this. Right, and we should be able to see this. Yes, merge the branch. Right? And now if I get log, there it is, and there's Simon's changes. And I'm on that branch. Good. Okay. And if we refresh over here, we should get it. Now, why isn't... There we go. So that loaded properly. And the all articles list. That's loading and working properly. But you're saying the layout is wrong. Okay. I'm going to merge what we have there. So I'll copy those commands and just paste them in. Yep. Okay. So I should be able to push now. And now we've got it. Cool. And yeah, everything looks like it's working properly. Oh, it tries to answer every question. Yeah. It tries, and it's going to come back and say, I don't know what to do with that. All right, so we have this first change in with the change to the pager. So if we look at the pager, and I still don't know why these are all marked in red, because they sure look like they're working. That's interesting. Yeah. First bot conversation. A little bit. A little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Lennon BR, thank you for the follow. I'm not sure why Visual Studio Code doesn't like the .NET references here. I mean, let's just get rid of the SDK here. And I think part of me wants to force it to reload. Right? right? Let's just quit and restart. All right. Nope, .NET Restore ran properly. See, now it's not giving me all the reds. Yeah, restarting code. Looks like it did it. Right, I've got all my IntelliSense. It looks like working properly now. All of CodeLens popping up here with the references appropriately. So, looks much better. All right, so the pager tag helper now, and you can see, right, this is where Simon changed things out, and he's now using a tag builder to generate the page link appropriately. So that works, and I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Cool. Let me, let's take a look at, let's see, we're over here now. So we merged, we pushed, there we go, so we can close this. All right. Thanks for the contribution. Oops. All right. Let's take a look at another pull request now. Adding search engine friendly URLs. Now, this is one that we have a little bit of discussion around. You can see there's 11 comments on this. A reload command will fix things up. You're right. There is a reload. Right? Where is it? Right where? I thought there was a reload here. Yeah, there we go. Does Fritz own an Apple hat? Nope. I don't. And actually, last night I got some hats made special for Build. You'll see them next week on Tuesday. We'll debut a new hat here on stream. One of a kind. Actually, 4 of a kind. I had 4 made. I should own an Apple hat. Need to figure out where and how I can get one. I don't think they sell them at the store. So, the question that we're looking at and that we're debating a little bit here, and Simon jumped in, is that friendly URL codes are used to generate unique URLs for each article. We're currently using the article topic to create the URLs, and it throws a modal validation error if the URL already exists. So we're doing that check already. I have several Microsoft hats, and I do have an Xbox hat. I've worn them previously here on stream, and I stopped keeping track of which hats I'm wearing. It became a lot. So the question that we're running into here is, if the topic name changes, we've got to regenerate URLs, and it becomes a little bit tricky. And we have this thing here inside of the URL helpers that were being suggested to help make more search engine friendly URLs. You have an Apple hat signed by Woz. That's impressive, JT. I've never met Woz. I'd be curious, to meet him and, have a chat. So, anyways, let me pull in this pull request. There's a lot of chatter going on here around how processing was happening with this, and it was being merged into dev. I'm okay with that for now. So let's take a look-see over here. Conflicts. Alright, both modified. Article, create, and delete. Ugh. Alright, let's go back over here. Let's see. conflicts are here where you see the blue, and you can see Article CS has a conflict, and here's the changes. And this is where the discussion, this is where the debate is coming in. Right now, I have the topic as a key, and what's being suggested is we should have a surrogate key. We should have the ID. No, not Siri. Stop it, Siri. Bad Siri. You go away. So I'm running into this issue where I'm looking at the topic. The topic is what I want on the URL. And what's being suggested here is we need to have an ID hanging out here as a surrogate key. So we just have this ID value out there that uniquely identifies it, and yeah, thanks C. At least I don't have an echo device in this room. I'm not gonna say her name again. Do I watch other not programming related streams sometimes? Yes, I do. Cheer up. Absolutely. I see things that are suggested in my Twitch stream, and I'll go and check on those. I tune into our friend Fierce Kittens, and she's doing different artwork that she's working on, being creative. Yeah, you know. Of course, I watch Overwatch League. I tune in every now and again to watch Disguised Toast. You kind of have to see what that guy's up to. He's easily the #1 Twitch streamer with a crazy number of followers. So back to this. The suggestion here is to put a surrogate key on here, and I'm in PR comments. I add the ID too. Okay. And then there's also this idea of putting a slug here. So key, database generated, public int ID. Yeah. And forcing an ID out there. I get it. I appreciate why it's there. What is this? Alright. I think there's a little bit of refactoring to be done to make this work. And I think long term it's probably a better way to go. So I think I'm going to accept the incoming change on this. Alright, so let's save that. Where are my other conflicts? Down here in pages, around create and delete. Oh man, it's basically the entire page. Way to go, Git. Alright, so I'm going to accept the incoming change so we can take a look at this. It's going to be the same thing here, isn't it? Yeah, let me accept the incoming change. Alright. We'll save that one as well. Now this is looking for a helpers namespace, and I don't think I have that. No, it's up here. corewiki.helpers. So why is it saying it doesn't see that? Reload, see if we can get that to go away. So far, so good. Let's see. And it looks like it built properly. So let's check out the website at 64908. back to the front page. I'm a big fan of the data annotations. So it's rolled back, it doesn't have the same content in it, because we actually had to rebuild the database. If I look at latest changes here, well, now look at this, I've got 2 home pages. Why do I have 2 home pages? So there's 1, 2. Weird. What happens if I delete one? Go away. Yep. So now, well, that's a problem we're going to need to address. I don't have a homepage. So I thought this worked. Topic homepage. Content. This is the default homepage. Yeah. And it doesn't find it. Oh no! If you have an int ID, EF should just assume it's key and DB generated. Correct. Mr. C# Fritz, is it reasonable? Well, you don't have to call me Mr. C# Fritz. You can just call me, you can call me Jeff, you can call me Fritz. My friends call me Fritz. Is it reasonable to learn C++ or C to begin programming again? That's from, is that user Arctic? I know, Mr. What's with that? We're all friends here. C++ is really in depth, right? There's your low-level stuff that you're going to be managing. However, C++ 17, I just spent some time reviewing some C++ presentation content about the new version of C++. There's some great there's some great new features that make C++ actually a little bit more like C#. It looks like they may even have a garbage collector coming in the next version. He had as much trouble with the name as I did. I feel less bad. Yeah, is that user? Yeah, user xarctic. I'm not sure. My nick, integral e to the x. All right. So if you're a computer science person, if you're going to be doing game programming, C++, sure. I would go towards. I would not go towards C. I thought the GC was added in C++ 11, but I don't write C++ anymore. I don't know when it was added either. But I was looking at C++ 17 features and some of the new ways that they recommend you work with C++. I'm impressed with how much easier it is to read and work with in the latest versions. But if you don't need to be down in C++, if you're building things like a website, if you're building things like a standard desktop application that folks need to be able to work with data in, go for a higher level language. Go for a C#. Go for a Java, a JavaScript. There's a lot more stuff in there that'll make it easier for you to develop, use tools, and you can make mistakes, and it'll be a little more forgiving with a garbage handler in there for you. So why not write C? It's used all over in the Unix world. Sure, you could. I'm not shooting down C. I think there's higher level languages that can get you productive faster if you're learning again. If you, I think C it's an incredibly useful language, but it's at such a low level as a learner, as somebody who's just learning. It's easy to shoot yourself in the foot because you don't have all the concepts. All right. I lost my homepage, and that feels terrible. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the watcher here. I'm going to delete my database and let it rebuild. Where is it? So let's remove WikiDB, and let's have it restart. Which one should I learn to get started? Oof. If you're set on learning C++ or C, I would go to C++. They're both very, very closely related to each other. My preference would be for C++. What do you want to build? Yeah. And look at that. I'm not getting the homepage. What happened there? So there's homepage. Okay. And if I go there, I should get the homepage loading. Let's take a look at the route, because I know that was one thing that we did change as part of this was the route. That's what came in as part of these changes here. Okay, so add routing options lowercase URLs equals true. Okay. Add page route details index. All right, so let's look at the details page. Something else that was changed as part of this. Let's see. Excuse me. Python is the best starting language. Python it's a nice language. There's that schism that happened with Python 3, and you have folks still debating and fighting over Python 2 versus Python 3. But I do see a lot of folks use Python as an initial training language. PHP or ASP.NET? I believe in ASP.NET. It's easily got better tools. It's got faster compiler, and it's got much better performance now. There is a .NET way to write and compile PHP. Yes, that's there's a compiler out there called PeachPy. It's not a compiler, but it's a framework that you can use that will help you get an application up and running. In fact, the folks at PeachPy have WordPress running. Their blog is WordPress, and it's running on a .NET compiler, on a .NET framework. I like that Jeff is a C# guy who also happens to know about the Python schism. Oh, yes. Absolutely. My country is using PHP, and ASP.NET is said to be worse. Well, hang on. ASP.NET, there's several different user interface frameworks that you can use with ASP.NET. Web Forms, MVC, Web API, SignalR. Web Forms a lot of folks don't like because it is intended to be very form-driven and to remove and abstract away a lot of the HTTP protocol. MVC, what you're seeing me use here, is very easy to use, and it drives you towards the pit of success with model, view, and controller primitives. So ASP.NET Core, with this approach, runs very fast, runs everywhere, Windows, Mac, and Linux. That's what I'm building here on my Mac, and we think it's great. So give it a shot. Well, here's the problem right away. Right on get, if the ID is null, don't return anything. Well, if I'm going to the home page, I should be returning something here, right? Let me go back to startup. So we've removed the references that say, well, here's what the home page is. ASP.NET Core is fast and getting faster. And actually, Genesco, according to our performance numbers that we're forecasting for when ASP.NET Core 2.1 is released and the next round of performance tests, you're going to see ASP.NET Core as the #1 performing web framework. So, what Mac am I using? This is a MacBook Air. It's a MacBook Air 13-inch. Yeah, it works great for me, you know. So what's happening here is it's being routed me to the details page, and it's not finding, I'm not passing in an ID here. So it's coming back and saying, ID is null. So this is never going to work. I'm passing in an ID value. Make it so you cannot delete the homepage or refactor. And it's never going to find my topic. So here I'm back to the same problem again. I want my URL to contain the title of the page that I'm going to, and the way, not delete, details. Okay, I was looking at the wrong one. On get async string slug. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow. And it was E to the X, right? You're looking at the delete page. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong one. Do I have knowledge in JavaScript frameworks like Angular, Vue, React, and what is your opinion on them? They're all trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to do the same thing in different ways. And they're all iterating so quickly that nobody can keep up with them. It is a pain in the neck, and I'm not happy with any of them because none of them believe in backwards compatibility. For any enterprise to commit to building something with one of those JavaScript frameworks, by the time you're done building your project, you're already obsolete and there's no support for you except for open source. I don't think it's sustainable in a corporate culture to use one of those frameworks unless you are constantly updating the framework and retraining yourself to learn the new languages. Yes, you can do that, but it's not sustainable in an organization where you may have to complete an application, put that on the shelf, and move on to the next one. It's just not gonna happen. So it's difficult to maintain and keep up with that. They're all great. Don't get me wrong. They're all amazing, and they do amazing things. But I don't think they're going to reach, and corporations are getting frustrated with these JavaScript frameworks because they're marked obsolete and they have zero support long term from those folks. Yes, I would start programming with C++. If that's where you're going, if what you're trying to build is a game, is something that should be lower level access to the metal, I would go with C++. Janescu says Unity 3T now uses C# as Mono Develop is deprecated. Yes, so a number of games that you see out there use C# and Mono. They're built on .NET. And I've called these out before. Pokemon Go on your mobile device, that's written with C# and Mono. The Hearthstone card game that you see a lot of folks here on Twitch play, that's built with C# and Mono. Oh, thank you, Derek. Yes, well, that's why I'm here, is to answer folks' questions and to help along. As someone who isn't invested a lot of time yet learning a client-side framework, where should I start? Asks Smarty Pantalones. I would start with learning just plain JavaScript. Learn how JavaScript works first. Don't learn how Angular works. Don't learn how Vue or React works. Learn just JavaScript first. Get a grip on what that does. And then start to take a look at the frameworks and see where they're saving you time. Because I think you're gonna find that there's definitely something to knowing the JavaScript language before you start dialing in those frameworks, and it'll help to shape your decision about which frameworks to use. Niantic switched from Java to .NET. Server side, I think they're using Java. If you look in the Pokemon Go application, you look at the About page, you can see a bunch of references to .NET libraries there. So that kind of verifies that they're using .NET. All right. So here's what I'm running into. So the string slug, it's going to look for a slug called homepage. Now, I don't think when we seed our database, it's putting a slug of homepage in there. And look at that, I'm suddenly getting a little bit of glow there. That's better. Apparently they moved to Unity, so that makes sense. Yep, there you go. Okay, let me go back over to Startup, and down in here I had something to seed the data. There it was. So I will F12 on that to go through and look at my seed data method here. And you can see I don't have, it's not writing a slug here unless that's being done for me now inside the article. And it's not building a slug value for me. So here's a disconnect in what's been suggested in this pull request, right? Is we should have this slug, right, to help with the friendly URLs, and it's just not. It's just not working. Right? It's not giving me that topic name automatically here. So I'm not. There's a lot of disconnects here in this pull request. I understand what they're trying to do. And I want to back out what they've got here because there's just I've got to do a lot of fixes to make this work. This isn't complete. It's not ready for merging. Angry Birds games are developed using Unity. There you go. Am I working on Microsoft? Yes, I'm using Microsoft tools here. Right, I'm using the .NET SDK, the .NET command line. This is a Microsoft sponsored and backed tool that we have development teams working on. And I'm using Visual Studio Code here, which is a completely open source editor that's built using Electron and TypeScript to allow you to write code, not just C# or .NET, but there's great tools for C++ inside here, for Python, for TypeScript, for Node, all kinds of stuff in here. Unity used Java and C#, but now work job system inside Unity is using C#. Yes, and C# and .NET stuff is always improving. Those are one of the big frameworks that you see a corporation sponsoring and really pushing development on, promoting development on. What do I think about Java, asks Duel. Java's a great language. Don't get me wrong. And it's interesting that Java, right? Java had their own runtime, right? And you compiled, you got bytecode, and it would run with the Java runtime. And when Java was initially released, you had one language and one runtime, and that one language was the only one that ran with that one runtime. Where .NET came out a couple years later, and you had many languages and one runtime. And now .NET is really consolidated down to 2 or 3. 3 really. VB, C# and F#. And you compile them and they run on this one runtime. So we've got this consolidation. And at initial release, .NET pitched that there were, I think, 12 different languages that you could compile and get running on the .NET runtime. Neat. And now here we are on looking at Java, and now there's a bunch of different languages that will compile and run on the Java runtime. Java's a great language, don't get me wrong. But I see a problem with how Oracle is maintaining it. I don't see them growing it in the same way that Sun did previously. I think the stewardship that Oracle has over Java is not as is not as innovative and is not as aggressive as what Sun was doing previously. And I think it's starting to hurt the Java language. The runtime is doing great, and you've got all these cool new languages that run on the Java runtime, and that's an amazing thing. That's great to see for that ecosystem. So Java as an ecosystem, when you think about the runtime, it's doing pretty well. I think they're doing some great things over there. But Java as a language, like I said, there's some things that Oracle could do to step up their stewardship of the language. That being said, though, it is nice having a corporation that is, maintaining Java as an open source language and helping to push it forward. They're doing some things with licensing in 2019 that I know some folks aren't thrilled with, but that's what Oracle's decision as a corporation is. Artificial intelligence, C# leave behind or leave all the languages behind. I don't understand what the question is there. So what I'm running into, the question and the problem that I'm running into here is the topic is required and the slug isn't being set initially when we seed the database. So we need to come back over here, and we're going to need to add to this a slug. And it looks like we want to generate our slugs, right? And I really, really don't like this format here. And nor do I like this. I don't care that it came from a Stack Overflow question. This is terrible code. I do not like doing a for loop across this. There is F# and Q# now too. Q# I'm not sure is too ready for prime time. Q# is a quantum language that folks are starting to work with. F#'s been around for a couple years. I forget. F#'s got to be at least 5-10 years old now. But there's definitely something to developing and growing languages, and the fact that Microsoft is maintaining, if you include C++, 4 primary languages, and if you throw Q# in there as a project and a growing language, 5 programming languages, that's pretty impressive. As an organization, Microsoft is very, very invested in making sure that folks have the languages and features that they need to build whatever applications they want. Now, that being said, those are the languages that we're maintaining. We're building tools and enabling folks to use JavaScript. Oh, gosh, and TypeScript. How did I forget TypeScript? 6 languages that Microsoft is maintaining. Cool. Thanks for the link there, Saduki. If you hate the for loop, make it a select. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm not even going to turn it into a select. I'm going to turn it into a regular expression, Brendan. Because regular expressions are awesome. All right. So that needs to be homepage. Let's make sure this works. I hate big for loops. Look, hang on. Let me go back to that. This for loop, 4 over a string, is terrible. Okay? This is just eating cycles of your processor. Regular expressions for the win. Wait till you see what we're going to do here. This is going to be really nice. And then this remapping. This one, we're going to turn this one around also. We're going to make this, look at this. Okay. Yes, you can do if statements like this. You can do this as a select case. I'm sorry, a switch statement. Listen to me, select case. I'm thinking Visual Basic, but as a switch case. But we can do this with a dictionary lookup. Dual asks, what do you hate, dislike about .NET or Microsoft generally? So, full disclosure, Dual, I work for Microsoft. My full-time job is working for Microsoft. I actually work on the .NET team. Like regex is not a for loop. Hang on, we'll come back to that. There are some things that Microsoft used to do Under the previous administration, our friend Steve that pops up here, there are some things, some practices that I wasn't a fan of, but I would not have joined Microsoft if we weren't open source and promoting and pushing a better interaction with the community. In fact, I work on helping the community, focused on the .NET community, and encouraging folks to grow and learn and develop and solve their problems appropriately with .NET, with Visual Studio. That's part of my job, and that's why I do things like this stream. So Dual, I really wasn't a fan of how Microsoft did those things previously. And in fact, I've managed a couple of open source projects as a program manager for Microsoft. What do I not like about .NET? I'm not a fan of how things were so tightly coupled to Windows. It really makes it hard, makes it difficult for us to grow things when we're coupled to Windows, and we need to wait for Windows to change in order for us to fix or advance .NET. And that's why I like NuGet, and I like the package management features that we've brought to .NET in the past. Gosh, it was 2010 was when NuGet really landed, so in the last 8 years. So I don't like regex, but in this case I'll agree that regex could be better. Okay. Open source. I'll believe there's a new Microsoft when they repent for their past by open sourcing Windows itself. Never going to happen. However, R.W. Grimm, please understand, Visual Studio Code, .NET, that's a billion-dollar business if you look back to 2010. Literally, Microsoft has given the community for free with complete support all the source code and tools to build things with .NET. That's a billion-dollar business that they've given you, the community, for free. And you don't believe that they're invested in that? I'll go you one further. Microsoft is a platinum member in the Linux Foundation. You can go and see how much a platinum member contributes to Linux in order to grow and make that contribution to Linux. That means Microsoft is literally paying Linus Torvalds' salary and the other folks at the Linux Foundation. So, you know what? That's a pretty big contribution to the open source community, and to get very good point there. So Grim, I see where you're going about Windows and open source, and for a long time I was a big fan of that. And yes, there's definitely things going on in Windows that would be nice to share, but I don't think it's necessary. It's never going to happen, and I don't think it's necessary for the things that we want to be able to do. To build stuff to keep people on their platform. I'm a hardcore open source developer from the early 2000s. Releasing .NET and .NET Core means nothing to me, as my development environments have been free forever. Okay, so what are you looking for? You're seeing all these contributions to the open source communities, making things free, easy to do. Microsoft's releasing its own distribution of Linux that runs great in the cloud, that's more secure, that helps with IoT devices. We saw that announcement a few weeks ago. You can bet that there are going to be follow-up information about that announcement of our Linux, the Linux distribution from Microsoft at our upcoming conferences. There's a lot of stuff happening, and you're right, Janesco, you can run Linux stuff natively inside of Windows with WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. To build stuff to keep people on their platform. Well, I mean, that was right, and that was the MO with the old .NET, right? And that's right. The new stuff that we're doing with .NET. Use Windows, Mac, or Linux. I'm doing .NET development here on my Mac, right? You would have never seen this 10 years ago. So, we're trying to enable folks everywhere, right? And that's kind of where we're going. What open sourcing Windows would do to .NET and .NET Core since they're open sourced. I don't think it would change anything if they open sourced Windows, but it's not going to happen. You can make your own Linux distro to WSL distro launcher and put it in a Microsoft store. There you go. All right. I need to rebuild this so I can get this slug loaded. So let's go back here and get this working again. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to remove the WikiDB. I'm going to restart here so we rebuild. We have the development tools for free. You don't need the entire OS open source since you can use them on OpenOSs also. Yep. We're never going to agree on this, and I don't want to turn your stream into a flame war. No. I can't speak towards, and like I said, I don't think Windows is ever going to be open sourced, but the tools, the features, even SharePoint runs on Node now, so that we can do other cool things with. Exited with error code 128. What the heck happened there? It was working just fine. You kidding? What happened here? So, there we go. Now I've got my homepage loading. And all my articles. Good. So we didn't have the slug. Where'd it go? There it is. So the slug wasn't being defaulted when we seeded the database. So that works now. I thought we resolved the conflict here in the article. So let's do this. Let me come back over here. We should be able to finish that merge. Let's add those couple of pages, models, article, pages, create, spell create correctly. Pages with a capital P, delete. Fixed conflicts and added a seeded slug value. There we go. Oh, I didn't add the application context. Models, application context. I'm going to spell that wrong again. Yep. Alright, time to prep for your stream. Okay, remember kids, open source is not a quality stamp. Correct. Did you just say SharePoint runs on Node? Yes, it does. No one said it was. All software is buggy. True. Having the ability to fix it yourself without having to wait for priorities to align is what makes open source special. And actually, R.W. Grimm, that's exactly the argument that the .NET team had with Windows and why .NET is now completely open source and shipping as packages beside Windows. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have this fixed. Let's just take a quick look there. Let me push in the WikiDB as well. And I'll amend that one. Okay. Imagine if that was the case with Windows. Yeah, businesses need to be... Windows is way too old for them to release that open source. There's too much of the business built on that to say we're going to make that completely open source and free. So, all right. Here we go. So now I have the slug being generated and written. Now, let's see if create is properly building out the slug as it's being written. So slug, okay, it makes this URL friendly, and it writes it out. So let's see if that works. Nemebian, welcome. Hello. Thanks for joining us today. So let's create a new article here. Let's see if this is working. New article. This is my new article. Bazinga. Go away, DevTools. Create. All right. So now it's sitting here at new article. If I go back to the home page and I look at latest changes, I've got new article and I can click through. Looks good. All right. Excuse me. Windows source is way too big for normal Git to handle it. Actually, Janescu, there is a session at build. Let me see if I can bring this up here real quick. I believe this has not been embargoed, and it's not being streamed. Here it is. Building Windows, how the bits flow from check-in to the fast ring. After build, these sessions will be available for you to watch. I encourage you to check this one out, BRK 2114. And Janescu, you'll see normal Git can't hold Windows, but they're going to show you how they use Git to maintain Windows and how they build Windows with continuous integration on a regular basis. This is crazy scale. And they do it all in VSTS. It is amazing. I encourage you to check this out if you want to learn how they're using open source technologies to build Windows. And they'll actually show you some things that they're contributing back into Git and into other tools as open source products that support the building of Windows and make it easier for you to build your projects. So check that out. BRK 2114, Building Windows. How the bits flow from the check-in to the fast ring. All right. Enough radio guy there. I'm not sure I would want to see the Windows source code. Probably some nightmare-inducing stuff in there. So, is that Twitch Loft? What you'll see in there is one of Microsoft's motives. It has always been, you see this with all their stuff. Backwards compatibility is job one. We want you to always be able to migrate and move things forward and be able to use your existing apps from Windows XP in Vista, from XP forward to 7, etc., etc. Juliax, welcome. Thank you for the follow, and good morning, Steve. So great to see you here. I lose weeks after build watching the videos. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Git LFS. Yes, the Git large file system. Oh, and there's still lots more happening there. Are we still going through questions? I'm answering any question that comes up here. Nemiabum? Am I pronouncing that right? So, and I'm still pushing forward, and I'm trying to resolve some of these issues around this pull request. So the create, this looks like it's properly building out that article slug. I'm okay with that. Edit, let's take a look over here. And this looks like it's running properly. Okay. There's a talk from GDC about it. Yeah. Oh, did they talk about the large file system at GDC? That's kind of cool. But let me look at the details page, because the details page... Yeah, okay, so it's doing a search based on our slug here. And inside of application DB context, so this is where our ORM, our object relational mapper, is going to take our classes, like this article class, and turn it into a database object. And the challenge that we have here is our slug field should be indexed if we're searching based on that, right? And it should also be required. So let's make that happen here. So I can use a required attribute above slug to force it to be right. So it gets the not null entry in the database constraint. It's a weird one. Yep. I'm writing my thesis in LaTeX with VS Code at the moment. It's awesome to have code completion and native Windows spell checking. Very cool, Magus. Magus? Is that Let me know. I think there's a good talk out there from Martin Woodward about moving Visual Studio engineers to VSTS. Yes, and this is the next edition of that, showing some of the cool new things that they're doing. So I'm going to mark that as required. I'm going to come back over here, and inside of... I don't want to work on the seed data method here. What I can do is I can actually override... come here. And I believe it's on model creating. Now, on model creating is a method that's called, come here, when you're configuring it, when you're configuring the models and you want to do some extra things in the database, right? Compared to on configuring, it's calling that each time it's being created. On model creating is called once. So we're going to use this one. All right. And now I should be able to say model builder dot... Hang on, this should be... Why didn't it give me my return type? Ah, wrong key. My bad. Right, is it override void? Right, it should not be. It should be public. It's a protected internal. Alright, fine. But still, why am I getting a red line there? Cannot change access modifiers. Okay. Okay, now I'm confused. On model creating, yeah, it returns void. Damn it. I'm so used to using control. My apologies. So I should be able to wipe those, make this a void. And what's it saying? No, I don't want to use an expression body. Yeah, protected. That's what I thought. Alright, there we go. Slug and American Rapper. Concerning a question related to scaling applications, we mostly talk about how Docker and orchestrations help us scale our applications across machines, but we don't talk about how we should scale our database. You're right. When we think about scaling the database, there's a couple different ways you can do it. The cheap and easy way to do it is buy a bigger database, right? Just get a bigger database. And that was a solution that a company I worked for a while ago decided to go. And every year they literally spent another factor of 10 in dollars on a new database machine or series of database machines. And then they would go from one database machine to a cluster of database machines with, of course, hot backups available, etc., 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 and just slowly buy more database machines. Yes, that's exactly where I was going to go next. Is at some point you run out of physics. You can't get much bigger. You can't buy faster processors. You need to start talking about horizontal scaling, and then caching the output of queries across a series of other machines, and you end up then with report servers and application servers that have pre-cached responses from your main data store. Then you start looking at things. I don't know why the dog's going nuts. But you start looking at things to distribute the load across other smaller, more commodity database servers to do that edge caching for you. So then you see folks start to talk about things like CQRS architecture. CQRS is Command Query Responsibility Segregation, which basically means we're going to have commands that do the write work, that do some of the business logic processing, perhaps, that write to that central database. And we'll take the results of those commands and we'll write those events, perhaps. We'll write the results out to our edge cache scenarios, and we'll do most of our processing, our read processing, from the edge. So you end up with 2 database commands that end up firing every time somebody does a write into your system. It's a little bit more complex. A lot of folks need to get to some serious scale in order to see that need for architecture. So I see folks that dive into CQRS or DDD, domain-driven design architectures, sooner than they really need to. And when you look at things like cloud operations, the scaling a database is as simple now as dragging a slider in your cloud provider's configuration, right? I had 1 processor, now give me 2. I had 50 DTUs, now give me 100. And you can expand and grow your database without having to buy new hardware. You just change your lease, your monthly fee that you're paying for database usage, instead of having to shell out $100,000 for a new database. So there's definitely something there for growing your database without having to go and rewrite all your code. Yes, at some point you're going to need to re-architect and start taking into consideration edge cache nodes for that. But yes, iterative development. Take your time and grow your platform appropriately. And that's why a lot of people are really interested in using microservices, because microservices give you the ability to take those services and distribute them out wherever you need them, and you can grow as many of them as you need, as fast as you might need for those things. It is very complicated. Take your time deciding on those architecture decisions. For most folks that are building a little internal application with a couple hundred users, you don't need high-end architecture. Cosmos DB you can grow quickly and easily. It's very easy to use. If you're using Service Fabric, maybe using Reliable Dictionary and then persisting data elsewhere could help. Yes. All kinds of ways that you can approach this. I didn't see the comment from Twitchloff. Must have scrolled off before I saw it. Oh, DDD is more about how complex your system is rather than scaling. Yes, you're trying to reduce your complexity with DDD. So, alright, we are almost at the end of our time together here. I wanted to configure my model here. Right, I forget how to create the index. Right, let's go over to our web browser because I forget how to do this. Let's see here. Entity Framework Core Create Index. I forget exactly how to do this. Indexes. Here we go. So I can say model builder entity has index. That's what I'm looking for in my on model creating. All right. So here I am in model builder. I can say model builder entity, and then I can specify the type, which is going to be article. Has index. All right. Now I can specify the index using a func. All right. So a func is effectively a delegate. It's a function that returns a type. So I need to specify what's the object on here that has the index, and I'm going to index on my slug. And that's it. So now I've created an index on that. There we go. Oh, you're right. I should mark it as unique. Let's do that. Let's say is unique. Now, has filter, what Evandro is suggesting here, determines whether the specified index has a filter expression. I'm not sure we need that. Right, do we need the has filter? I don't think so. I'm just going to leave it with the is unique to ensure that the slugs are unique in our database. Now, I've made a change to our database structure, so we need to actually rebuild a little bit here. Right, it's applied these changes, but I need to generate a migration that explains here's how to update the database. Now migrations are sitting right here. I have two. Why do I have two? Oh, the designer. Okay. So I'm going to create another migration that adds this index to the database. So you're welcome, Nemabium. I'm going to have a terrible time pronouncing that, and I'm going to apologize every time. I know it. So I'm going to say .NET EF migrations add, and we will call this let's call this slug index. So this is going to look at our database. It's going to look at our migrations. It's going to compile, and it's going to put some put a little file out there that explains exactly how to build this. Done. And over here, you see it's automatically rebuilding, and it's going to put that index into play. So now if I go back to this, you can see here's my new migration, and you see it's created this index with a unique constraint on this slug column. So now when we do have lots and lots of articles, it should search and find content quickly. So this first time starting up, it's going to make the request, parse and handle everything, and there we go. So it's loading these pages quickly, right? And I'll probably at some point need an index on the last update date so that I get the latest changes loading quickly, but I'm not concerned about that one just yet. So I have the slug working properly. I have an index on it. Now I want to go back, and we got all excited about doing a regular expression, and I really want to go after this for method right here. And what the for method is doing, if I understand it correctly, it's converting to lowercase. And it's also finding some special characters here and forcing them instead to have a dash in between. And this is a pain in the neck. So let's take a look at this. This is, I'm not a fan of how this is working here. Why are we doing this check in between each one of these values? Right? And this is saying if the character is a space, if it's a comma, a period, a slash, a backslash, a hyphen, an underscore, or an equals, and it's not previously a dash, make it into a hyphen. We can do this with a replace. That's easy to do. And then the last one down here is saying, and we're only putting in one dash, right? And the last one down here is remapping international characters to ASCII. And I'm okay with that. Or a conditional switch case. We can do that as well, 85 filter. Yes, you're right. But I want to make this just makes me feel sad. This feels misplaced. This feels like a for loop that folks are making it a little bit hairy, right? This is a little crazy. So let's replace this. Let's make this a little bit easier to work with. And okay, right, this is called URL friendly. I'm going to call this URL friendly old, so it's still sitting here as I replace it. So public static string URL friendly string title. Okay, var new title. All right. Let's take care of that first bit there. If string is null or empty, title will return the empty string. All right. So our new title is going to be, and let's start off right away, not even allocate the empty string. Let's take and force everything to lowercase to start, right? That's easy. I can say title to lower invariant, and now everything is in lowercase. So I've literally removed that. Why? So many ifs inside a loop, not so great. Agreed. It can be done faster. Oh? What can be done faster? This right here. I'm going to take this and turn this into a regular expression. Now, for those of you that haven't done regular expressions, or you see this and you cringe at regular expressions, have no fear. Jeff is here. Let me show you. There are a number of places that I go out on the web so that I can get help and I can test my regular expressions quickly and easily. Regular expression tester. And I'm just going to pull up the first one that I get to here. We'll go to this one. Some text, regular expression, and then the match result. Regular expressions are easy. Why did he choose that answer from Stack Overflow? The first answer I got was a regex replace. I know! The new switch case have regular expressions. 10 years ago, the one I built was the top one on Google. I go through and I write my tests for this quickly and easily, and it's actually missing a couple there in the regular expression. So let's take a look. We need to account for, I'm just going to copy these, and I'm going to cheat a little bit and paste that in here. So the expression that we're going after, you always start with a, you know what? No, hang on. I don't like this one. Let's try a different one. How's this one? Is this a good one? It's the official site. Yeah, this is one I like better. All right, let me just paste in the text that we're looking at. So we want to capture any one of these characters. And these characters we're going to select from a collection here, and we're going to put that collection inside of square brackets. And we're going to be looking for a space. A space is actually \s, and you can see down here it's defining that. \s. Next one that we're looking for is a comma. So yes, find commas. We also want to find periods, and we also want to find forward slashes. Now, forward slash you actually have to escape and put in there twice. Backslash we need to escape, so I think, yep, we want to have double backslash to grab that one. Next one is a hyphen, so we can just put a hyphen. After that is underscore, that's good, we can capture underscore, and the last one is equals. Cool. So that will literally capture any instance of those characters one or more times consecutively, right? That's what the plus says. Match one or more of them consecutively. So if I write Jeff's page, right, it found the space, apostrophe isn't necessary there. If I have multiple spaces, it captures all of those. If I have this with underscores, it captures all of those. And we'll be able to find those and do a quick replace. So now I have a very simple regular expression that I can copy and paste and use over here. I pointed to a different method on the original PR. It won't let me post a link, of course. Interesting. Why are Macs better than PCs? That's a question of taste. That's a question of choice. If you enjoy spending a ton more for your machine, you're more than welcome to do that. For the most part now, since they use the same processor and the same processor instruction set, doesn't really matter. It's a question of taste at that point. Do you like Apple? Do you like Dell? Do you like HP? Do you like Lenovo? It's a question of choice. The Mac OS, folks like it. To each their own. All right. So that's the code for my regular expression. So I'm actually going to save off my regular expression. I'm going to put it up here as a private static read-only. I believe is it regex? And I'll call it slug characters equals new. Right, regex, and then I can give it the characters for this right there. And I need to escape this a little bit. And we're gonna need to, bring in my using statement. Let's see, we need a UI library for regex, and we could write everything in regex. Macs are better because they have a three times more expensive and built on proven 2-year-old tech. There's a lot of folks that are upset about the quality of the Mac keyboards. To each their own. No, I've already got that. So I need an extra backslash there. And I think I need an extra backslash or 2 here to make sure that it captures 2 backslashes. All right. So now I have that. So they write better code too. No, they write the same type of code. All right, so now I can use that regular expression to replace anytime I find one of those characters with a hyphen. So I should be able to say new title equals RE title. No, I'm sorry. RE slug characters dot shoot. Where'd it go? Nope. Why am I not getting? Where'd it go? Yep, reload the window. Can you use string literal in regex? Yes, I could turn this around and I could put an @ sign there and get rid of some of these backslashes. And that certainly works. Now it still doesn't like... Oh, you know what? Shoot. That's what I was looking for. Ugh. There we go. Now I can do replace. The input is new title, and the replacement that I'm looking for, that I'm going to provide, is just the hyphen. Done. Right, so all this stuff that happened all the way down through here before remap an international character to ASCII is done. Gotta go start your streams, crossing the streams. Well, that just means we'll have to have a raid a little bit later when I'm done. Let's see. What happened here? Alright. Let me double check. Just make sure my schedule today, I'm good for a while. Cool. Let's finish this up. The reference to regex, yeah, that was it, Nemi. Alright. So that takes care of all these lines, and now I just need to do this remap international character to ASCII for each character. Ugh. Ugh. So this could be another set of regexes, right? Or I could do a find and replace, right? I can do a straight replace, string replace, using each one of these. And that's a little bit better. See, how do I move diacritics, accents from a string in .NET? Let's see what that says. I'm open to doing a Stack Overflow search. Come here. Stack Overflow. Yes, leave page. Goodbye. Alright. How do I remove accents.net? Bazinga. Here we go. I've not used this method. Text normalized form. and then doing a string builder and and posting it. That's not bad. That looks really easy to do. I really like that. So I'm just going to grab that and use that here. Right there. All right. And get bytes, new title. Ah, wrong key. And now I can just say return on that. So now, my URL friendly should make that a heck of a lot easier. And I don't need all of that. What do you think? I think that makes it a heck of a lot easier to manage and look at. So let's make sure it works, right? So it rebuilt, everything's sitting out there. If I go back to this and go back to my home page. Thank you, horse. Loads properly, right? If I click new article, this is a really long article name. Wow, a really long article name. Create. Now I'm not getting my errors output here for me. So that's a little annoying. Let's see what's going on here. Model state is invalid and it's not outputting my model information on my create. So there's something inside my create page that has invalidated this. Let's log information about what's going on here. So I'm going to receive an iLogger factory. And we're going to want to, let's say this dot logger equals logger factory create logger create page. All right. And we're going to need to create a logger, so I will create a quick property for that. Done. And now down here I can say log creating page with slug and let's put the slug there. Alright, save that, and it should rebuild. There we go. Got to head out. Thanks for the stream. Great to see you, Welsh Ronaldo. Thanks for joining us. Alright, so now if I click create over here, we should see the request come through, and we should see that entry logged to the screen. Come on. So there's the post, and I don't see it anywhere. Wow, it didn't even output the slug. Where'd it go? Right? Let's make it log warning. kind of force it to appear. Good. Click the create again, and let's see it appear. We should get a warning popping out. Warnings should always be logged. Or I'm completely wrong. This is on post. Oh, you know what? It's bailing out right there. So my create page should have... It has a validation summary, but it's not... Oh, dude. Way to go, John, but that is crazy. No. We don't need to be that complex. But for some reason, this validation summary isn't showing with my model error. Let's just make it a short one here, just to see if I can get it to go through. Nope. And it's not telling me what the error is. That's weird, because we had this working before. Let's go back into the create page. If model state is valid, return page. So what's it putting inside the content that it's returning? Yep, resend, that's fine. So it did the post, and what's coming back? Alright, so there's my menu bar. The topic field is required. No, it's already written. Oh, that's... yeah. So the validation isn't being output at all. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop this. And we actually have a debugger built into Visual Studio Code. Let's see if we can get this to show us what's going on here. I wanted to avoid using the debugger, but I feel like I have to now. Yes, yes, yes. And I didn't think it was on localhost 5000, but all right. So there it is. Let's create a new article. A new article. This is a new article. And we should hit our breakpoint. There it is. So now model state. Here it comes. We can see in our little watch window here exactly the model state. Come on, why isn't... So let's add... Where is it? I want to add a watch. Model state. And I can take a look at exactly what's going on inside that model state. Okay, there's 3. There's 1 error count. Yeah. What are they? Slug topic content. Yeah. So let's see what the error is that it's reporting here. Okay, attempted value, so errors. Come on. Count equals 1. Yeah. The slug field is required. I thought we created a slug. Oh. Yes. Look at this. I made slug required, and I'm checking model state before I set the slug, and because I marked slug as required, it's crashing out right here. That's actually a really good error. Let me start that running again. So I need to default the slug value here. So let's move this up. There we go. And now we have a slug that we can check against. And we need to put that into the model, right? So I should be able to say I should be able to say, right, article dot slug equals slug. And I don't need that here. Let's see if that works. Let's refresh the page. Actually, you know what? It's not listening on this page anymore. It's over here. So let's try creating here. And there we go. Not a supported encoding name. All right. That's what we got here. What do you mean? It's telling me that encoding doesn't... I bet you it doesn't exist here on a Mac. Alright, let's go back to that URL helpers. Change that from this. 1251 was the other way they showed it. See if that works. That's why I like the normalized method rather than the other method. See how that works. Nope. So you liked the normalize here, doing a for each character going across it. All right. All right, I will buy that. And we'll paste that in here. Formatting. Shoot, what is it to format all characters? It is format. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting format document. Format selection. That's better. Could use link aggregate and string builder. That would be a little nutty. Doable. There we go. So now I can change this to... and change this to new title. Let's see. The build should be running over here. good. Let's try that one more time. Yep, resend it. Come on. Still didn't create it. And it did, and it still didn't give me back my still didn't give me back the page. So the model state should be checking in on the article, and I'm forcing a slug onto the article at that point. Let's run the debugger one more time and see what's going on there. There we go, over here. And I guess Mac folks like this, the paging back and forth like this. All right, hey, whatever. Here we go. And new article. A new article. This is a new article. Create. Okay. So model state is valid. False. Why? It has one error. Yeah, what is it? The slug field is required. We put it in there. The paging is making me dizzy. Yeah, I know. Let's see. MVC update model. Yeah, update model state. Let's see. So model state add model error, no. Yeah, see, we almost need to rebuild. Why do you even validate the model state there? Well, we need to validate it, right? The fact that it's not outputting the model error on the page is that's another problem altogether. And I get that it's... Oh, you know what? It's not outputting it because the slug isn't on the page. Right? I want to enforce the requirements and all that stuff. I think the way to do this is going to be let's remove... I don't want to do it, but I feel like I need to remove... Stop it. I need to remove required from the slug. Oh, I hate doing that. And actually, it isn't listed here as required. Oh, there it is. Nullable false. And then, actually, I don't even need this first one. Yeah, let's whack that. And whack that as well. Do you need to recalculate the model state after the post? That's what I'm thinking, and that's a little bit too much, a little bit too complex for what I'm trying to do here. All right, so let me go back over here. I'm going to remove the database, and I'm going to rerun. Yeah, it should just rerun now, right? Oh, that's over here. Rerun. It should rebuild, and then we should be able to kick this off. Okay. Close that. Come back to here. Create again. Yeah, I don't want to have to recalculate model state. That is going to make it a little bit too complex for the solution that I'm trying to drive here. There we go. And now it has slug. And I can look at latest changes, and there's this article. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up there today. And I'm not done. No, I think I am done with this pull request. So let's commit that. So I'm going to add everything here. That's good. Yep. Cleaned up URL helper. All right, and now I will accept the rest of this pull request. Yep. Done. All right, so that's in the dev branch. So that's not in our projects branch. So let's check out. Let me check out that project. Well, and also let me get rid of the SMAB UK pager. Is it going to let me tab complete that? No. Tag helper update. All right. Git checkout project versions and ratings. And let's merge dev down into it. Oh, you stink. Oh, you pain in my neck. I think it was over. Nope. Sorry. Sorry. Reload. Model state remove might enable me to remove that required error. That's not a bad idea. Let me clean up this conflict. There's two conflicts. What? Lib, jQuery dist, jQuery JS. Lib, jQuery dist, jQuery JS. I want the head. Okay. Where else? There was... I thought it was in migrations there was one. No, looks good. Yep, alright, so git add pages. Right. So now I can push. now that's up to date. Cool. All right. So we did a lot of changes here on our core wiki project. Pushed up. Thanks for the contributions. This should make it easier to manage articles. Cool. All right. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. There were a lot of questions here in the chat room that we went through and answered during the session. We didn't get very far on going through this list of pull requests. I've still got 4 more to go through here. And I'm... Oh gosh, look at this. Upgrade to Bootstrap 4.1.1. Cool, thank you very much, Simon. We'll definitely merge that. I'll be back on Saturday, and we'll go through some more of these. There's a lot here that you guys have been contributing that I want to make sure that we address. So I will archive off this video. It'll be available a little bit later today over on YouTube. But thanks everybody for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. I think we've figured out a couple things together here on the Mac, and I'm glad I was able to answer all of your questions. So take care. I'll see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.